Hello and welcome to Teleislas News with the most important news of the day. The fifth stage of the national vaccination plan begins at the national level. However, it is important to emphasize to the community that in our department, these stages are unified. Here are the details of this new stage.
Through social networks, the departmental government confirmed that next July 21st will be held the second session of the mass vaccination in the department in order to apply the second dose of the Sinovac vaccine. The session will begin on the 21st and end on the 23rd of this month at the Teleislas between the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It is expected that in this session a total of 33,000 people will be immunized with their second dose of Sinovac. It is also important to mention that people who wish to apply the first dose may do so directly at the official vaccination point, which is a departmental hospital. Important to mention also that nationally, the Minister of Health, Fernando Ruiz, announced on Tuesday night that Stage 5 of the national vaccination plan will begin on July 14. This means that people between 35 and 39 years old who were not previously prioritized will be able to schedule their vaccination appointment. However, it is valid to note that in our department there is currently a unification of the stages of vaccination, taking into account the organization that was made for the mass immunization.
The master plan of water resources on the island of San Andres was the main topic that was discussed in the departmental assembly during the morning session. It is a project seeking that the departmental government adopt this plan to be implemented as soon as possible.
Hello Lisa and televiewers, good afternoon. Well, yes, we're here from the Departmental Assembly where the first debate around the Plan Director de Recurso Hídrico of San Andres, the Project 017, were carried out. This project looks to solve all the problematic we have about the distribution and the access to the water here in the island. This project aims to reach a definitive or peremptory solution to one of the unsatisfied needs in our islands, and it is to supply or provision of drinking water for all, so it can be provided in sufficient quantity with adequate quality and also be accessible to all users, residents and visitors, with the purpose of improving their condition of existence and coexistence.
Today, the first debate will take place on the Water Master Plan, which seeks to provide the most vulnerable communities with water resources. First of all, it will be free of charge for strata 1, 2, and 3 in rural areas, guaranteeing a vital minimum of water as well as generating irrigation districts for all the farmers in the department who are currently going through difficulties because of the situation in terms of the whole issue of droughts in the department.
Also, the author of this project, Nicolas Gallardo, talk about the expectation they have and what is the real objective of this project.
The expectation is to start the adoption of the Water Resources Master Plan in order to start the investments quickly and promptly, and to have water resources in the irrigation districts, and at the same time to have this vital and basic resource for the vulnerable population of the archipelago.
It is also important to mention that this is a project that has already been presented, and the idea is to adopt it and give it continuity. Sylvia Michelle informed for Teleislas News. Continue, Lisa, with the most relevant information of the day.
Thank you, Silveta. From next week, the entry of plastics into the archipelago will be prohibited, a measure that seeks to reduce the large quantities of this single-use product that are polluting the ecosystems. Here are more details.
From July 19 of this year, the entry of single-use plastics such as cups, spoons, straws, bottles, and bags will be prohibited in the archipelago. This is due to Law 1973 issued in 2019. We went to the street to know citizens' opinion on how they feel about this new regulation.
I think it is a good initiative not to use more plastics on our island because it pollutes the environment. The idea of no plastics for San Andres has been around for 2 years. I agree. We have to know what we are going to leave to the next generations. I think it is fine, but I see that we are in a situation that they're attacking us, that if on the 19th we have plastics on hand, they're going to confiscate them. I don't think that the measure is geared that way. I think there should be a meeting in consensus with the merchants to explain how the situation is going to be. I think the measure is very good because we are on an island and it is necessary to help the environment. What we have seen is that even though the law has been enacted 2 years ago, it is not very clear how much can or cannot be brought in. For several months, we have been bringing products based on paper pulp, cane, bamboo, but there are many things that cannot be replaced, such as plastic wrap to cover food or to pack desserts, fruits or vegetables. It is almost irreplaceable.
Let's remember that Law 1973 prohibits the entry and commercialization of single-use plastic elements in the department. To this initiative, we can add the recent prohibition established by the Environmental Corporation Coralina on the non-use of balloons and plastic in the coastal areas. Both decisions seek to reduce contamination by these elements in the archipelago.
And in other news, the police department of San Andres, Old Providence, and Santa Catalina confirmed that approximately at 1:30 p.m. yesterday, in the area of Morris Landing, there were gunshots in which a citizen of 34 years of age was injured, who by his own means were transported to the Clarence Newball Memorial Hospital, where he was treated by medical personnel. Members of the police force are already conducting investigations to determine who is the perpetrator. And in order to give a report to the community of what has been his legislative management in the last year, Congressman Jorge Mendez held an accountability event. More information as follows.
With the accompaniment of the main political authorities, private sector, and community leaders, the representative to the host, Jorge Mendez, explained the different projects that were processed during the 2020-2021 term.
Hemos trabajado proyectos importantes como el de la reforestación.
We have had important projects such as the reforestation, taking into account the need for the planting of coconut trees. We also have a project of the stamp for the National University, which has allowed us to have a legal framework that we hope will be complemented by the Departmental Assembly. We have projects against feminicide and proposals that have been made in different projects, seeking for the protection and specialization of the archipelago department, as in the tourism law, for which we managed to introduce a very important project for businesses, which has to do with the 200% of what they invested in Prayer World.
Mendez also explained one of the projects that will be discussed soon.
Tenemos también el proyecto de porte de armas, liberar.
We have the project that has to do with eliminating the benefits of gun carrying that people who commit crime has.
Finally, the representative to the host spoke about the political controls that will be carried out for the benefit of the community of the islands.
Tenemos el debate de control político.
We have the debate of political control to the civil aeronautics for the issue of the condition of the departmental airport, in addition to the political control debate that we will hold in the first committee as a debate on the issue of the condition of Old Providence directed towards Findeter and Fontour, who have failed to comply with the schedules that were established.
Representative Mendez has presented a total of 130 bills processed in the first commission.
Yesterday and today we have experienced less rainfall over the islands, and the sites that were under alert have been gradually opening up. Gisela, how are the weather conditions progressing?
Since yesterday, there was an opening of Rose Key thanks to the improvement of the weather conditions. However, the red and yellow areas continue in other activities at the sea. Due to the passage of a tropical wave, some precipitation have been occurring over the archipelago. According to the CEOH, the weather conditions will continue to improve, which will allow to opening of more tourist activities and mobility of small and large boats. However, the Yoniki Regional Park remains closed while conditions do not improve because there is not dock for the embarkation and disembarkation of visitors. Tourist service providers are reminded that during the yellow alert, transportation aboard boats is prohibited for elderly, disabled, and pregnant women. Teleislas News will be reporting the news presented by the maritime authorities regarding the weather.
And more companies join the rehabilitation of the municipality of Old Providence and Santa Catalina. A technology company will deliver donations of personal protective equipment to contribute to the construction and repair of homes.
The company will send safety equipment designed to protect people who work in virtually any type of service industry, and that on this occasion will serve to facilitate the reconstruction work and help in the protection of the island inhabitants, contractors, and members of the public force who are involved in this effort. The donation made through local organizations such as Pro Archipelago and Corporación Antioquia Presente includes 5,000 masks, 1,000 gloves, coating on the palms, as well as 250 waterproof boots with advanced dielectric protection of up to 14,000 volts, specifically for the teams carrying out work to reestablish the improved electrical service in Old Providence. The donation will facilitate the work of more than 950 people involved in the reconstruction of houses and public infrastructure in the island. This initiative joins others that reinforce Honeywell's commitment to Colombia, such as the engineering laboratory in alliance with the Universidad Javeriana to improve and promote educational quality in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
And now let's get to know other facts that are making news in our brief news sections of today.
The Protection and Special Services Group of the National Police conducted the Eyes Everywhere campaign on the island of Old Providence, which seeks to prevent the sexual and commercial exploitation of children and adolescents on the island. The uniformed officers also held door-to-door talks with the island community, informing them about the 141 and 155 hotlines. Coralina Environmental Corporation continues socializing resolution number 283 of 2021, through which law 1973 of 2019 is implemented in the Archipelago Department, which prohibits the entry of plastic elements. Raising public awareness sessions were developed in different mini markets in the town area, with the objective that the community knows the scope of the regulations.
And in other news, the Secretary of Tourism, Jonathan Taylor, made known that it will be the follow-up of the rescue towers after citizens' report was made public by this news agency.
Good evening, Lisa and all the TV viewers. I say hello from here, from the Spratbite Beach, because we want to make a follow-up of a news that we make yesterday, where a person from the community denounced that they feel bad others in this space, and also they find people sleeping in the little houses that are disposed to watching the beach. For this, we talked to the Secretary of Tourism, who is in charge of watching all over the tourist sector, and that is what he told us about the situation.
Regarding this complaint, the Secretariat of Tourism, since yesterday at the time we learned of the complaint, we put part of our tourism security team to follow up on this complaint, evidencing that there have been some homeless people who have been using the rescue towers which are on the beaches for APH staff and lifeguards. In this regard, we are working on a new process in which we will hire personnel for the maintenance of the rescue towers and also take into account the issue of security so that this type of situation does not occur again.
The invitation then to all the communities to mind them your beaches and have in mind that this is one of the most important tourism points of our department. This is all the information from here, from the Spratbite sector. Continue listening in studio with more information.
Thank you, Alice. Now we continue with the weather forecast. The weather forecast for today, July 14, in the coastal area of Archipelago, sky is partly cloudy. Temperature is 29 degrees Celsius with winds from the northeast direction, wind intensities of 21 km per hour. Humidity forecast is of 74% and probability of precipitation is of 8%.